Welcome to Minding Minds number 6. Song Master Chinul, Secrets of Cultivating the Mind. The triple world with its irritating vexations is like a house on fire. Who can bear to stay there long, willingly suffering perpetual torment? If you want to avoid going around in circles, nothing compares to seeking Buddhahood. If you want to seek Buddhahood, Buddha is mind. Need mind be sought afar. It is not apart from the body. The material body is temporal, having birth and death. The real mind is like space, unending and unchanging. Thus it is said, when the physical body decays and dissolves back into fire and air, one thing remains aware, encompassing the universe. Unfortunately, people today have been confused for a long time. They do not know that their own mind is the real Buddha. They do not know that their own essence is the real Dharma. Wishing to seek the Dharma, they attribute it to remote sages. Wishing to seek Buddhahood, they do not observe their own mind. If you say that there is Buddha outside of mind, and there is Dharma outside of essence, and want to seek the way of Buddhahood while clinging tightly to those feelings, even if you spend ages burning your body, branding your arms, breaking your bones, taking out the marrow, and wounding yourself, and copying the scriptures in your own blood, sitting for long periods of time without sitting down, eating only once a day, reading the whole canon, and cultivating various austere practices, it will be like steaming sand to produce cooked rice. It will only increase your fatigue. Just know your own mind. Just know your own mind. And you will grasp countless of teachings and infinite subtle meanings without even seeking. That is why the world-honored one said, observing all sentient beings, I see that they are fully endowed with the knowledge and virtues of Buddhas. He also said, all living beings and all sorts of illusionary events are all born in the completely awake, subtle mind of those who realize suchness. So we know that there is no Buddhahood to attain apart from this mind. The realized ones of the past were just people who understood the mind, and the saints and sages of the present are people who cultivate the mind. Students of the future should rely on this principle. People who practice the way should not seek externally. The essence of mind has no defilement. It is originally complete and perfect of itself. Just detached from illusionary objects, and it is enlightened to suchness as is. Question.
If the Buddha nature is present in our bodies, it is not apart from ordinary people, then why do we not perceive the Buddha nature now?
Answer. It is in your body, but you do not perceive it yourself. At all times you know when you are hungry, you know when you are thirsty, you know when you are cold, you know when you are hot. Sometimes you get angry, sometimes you are joyful. Ultimately, what is it that does all this? Now then, the material body is composed of 4 elements: earth, water, fire, and air. Their substance is insentient. How could they perceive or cognize? That which can perceive and cognize has to be your Buddha nature. This is why Linji said, the four gross elements cannot expound the teaching or listen to the teaching. Space cannot expound the teaching or listen to the teaching. Only the solitary light clearly before you, that which has no form, can expound the teaching or listen to the teaching. Only the solitary light clearly before you, which has no form, I'm reading it again, can expound the teaching or listen to the teaching. What he called that which has no form is the stamp of truth of all Buddhas. And it is your original mind. So, the Buddha nature is presently in your body. What need is there to seek outside? If you do not believe it, let me mention some stories of how the ancient sages entered the way to enable you to clear up your doubts. You should believe with a clear understanding of truth. In ancient times, a king asked a Buddhist saint, "What is Buddhahood?" The saint said, "Seeing essence is Buddhahood." The king asked, "Do you see essence?" The saint said, "I see the essence of enlightenment." The king said, "Where is essence?" And the saint said, "Essence is in function." The king said, "What function is this that it is not now visible?" The saint said, "It is now functioning. It's just that you yourself do not see it." The king asked, "Does it exist in me?" And the saint said, "Whenever you act, that is it." When you are inactive, the essence is again hard to see. The king asked, "When is it to be employed? In how many places does it appear?" And the saint said, "When it appears, there must be 8 places." And the king said, "Please explain these 8 manifestations." So the saint said, "In the womb, it is called the body. In society, it is called the person. In the eyes, it is called seeing. In the ears, it is called hearing. In the nose, it distinguishes scents. In the tongue, it talks. In the hands, it grasps and holds. In the feet, it walks and runs. It manifests all over, including everything. Countless worlds are collected in a single atom." Perceptives know that this is the Buddha nature, the essence of enlightenment. Those who do not know call it the soul. On hearing this, the mind of the king was opened up to understanding. Also, a monk asked Master Guizong, "What is Buddha?" Guizong said, "If I tell you right now, I'm afraid you won't believe it." The monk said, "Well, if you speak truly, how dare I not believe?" Guizong said, "You yourself are it." The monk asked, "How can I preserve it?" Going said, "When there is excuse me, when there is a single obstruction in the eye, there is a shower of flowers in the sky." Monk attained insight at these words. These stories I have quoted about the circumstances of ancient sages' entry into the way are clear and simple. They certainly save energy. If you gain true understanding by these stories, then you walk hand in hand with the ancient sages. Question:
You speak of seeing essence. Those who have really seen essence are then sages. As such, they should be different from other people, manifesting spiritual powers and miracles. Where is there not a single practitioner today manifesting spiritual powers and miracles?
Answer: You should not be too quick to speak wild words. Those who do not distinguish the false from the true are confused and deluded people. Students of the way today talk about truth, but in their hearts, they get bored and fall back into error of being indiscriminate. These are the ones you doubt. To study the way without knowing what goes before and what comes after, to speak of principle without distinguishing root and branch, is called false opinion, not cultivation of learning. You not only cause yourself to go wrong, but you cause others to go wrong. Should you not be careful? There are many avenues of entry into the way, but essentially they fall within 2 categories of sudden enlightenment and gradual practice. Even though we speak of sudden enlightenment and immediate practice, this is how those with the very highest faculties and potential gain entry. And if you look into their past, they have already practiced gradual cultivation based on sudden enlightenment for many lifetimes. So that in the present life, they realize enlightenment immediately upon hearing the truth, suddenly finished all at once. In reality, these people are also included in the category of those who are first enlightened and then practice. So these two aspects, sudden and gradual, are the guidelines followed by all sages. Sages since time immemorial have all first awakened and then practiced or cultivated practice, attaining experiential proof based on practice. So-called spiritual powers and miracles are manifested by gradual cultivation of practice based on enlightenment. It is not that they appear immediately upon enlightenment. As Scripture says, the abstract principle is understood all of a sudden. Concrete matters are cleared up by means of this understanding. They are not cleared away all at once, but worked out in an orderly manner. This is why Wei Feng said, in a profound explanation of the meaning of first awakening and then cultivating practice, consciousness is like an ice pond. Though it is all water, it needs the energy of the sun to melt. When ordinary people are awakened, they are Buddhas, but they rely on the power of the Dharma for cultivation. When ice melts, then water flows and moistens. Only then can it perform its irrigating function. When delusion is ended, then the mind is open and penetrating, responsively manifesting the function of the light of spiritual powers. So, actual spiritual powers and miracles cannot be accomplished in one day. They appear after gradual cultivation. And what is more, from the point of view of those who have arrived, concrete supernatural powers are still apparitional affairs, and they are minor things to sages. Even if they manifest, it is not right to want to use them. Confused and ignorant people today imagine that countless subtle functions, spiritual powers, and miracles will immediately appear upon the instantaneous awakening. If you entertain this idea, this means that you do not know what comes first and what follows afterward, and cannot distinguish the root from the branches. If you try to seek enlightenment without knowing what comes first and what follows afterward, what is basic and what is derivative, that is like trying to put a square peg into a round hole. Is it not a big mistake? Since you do not know expedient technique, you imagine you are facing a sheer precipice, and thus lose interest. Many are those who cut off their potential for enlightenment in this way. Since they themselves have not attained enlightenment, they do not believe that others have realized any enlightenment. Seeing those without spiritual powers, they become contemptuous, and make the sages and saints out to be cheaters and deceivers. Well, this is pitiful indeed. Question.
You say that the two categories of sudden enlightenment and gradual practice are the guidelines followed by all the sages. If enlightenment is sudden enlightenment, then what is the need for gradual practice? If practice is gradual practice, do I speak of sudden enlightenment? Please explain the meanings of sudden enlightenment gradual further to eliminate remaining doubts.
Sorry, I have to be funny. It's me. Answer. As for sudden enlightenment, as long as ordinary people are deluded, they think that their bodies are material conglomerates and their minds are random thoughts. They do not know that inherent essence is the true body of reality. They do not know that their own open awareness is the real Buddha. Seeking Buddha outside of mind, they run randomly from one impulse to another. If a real teacher points out a way of entry for you, and for a single instant you turn your attention around and see your own original essence, this essence originally has no afflictions. Uncontaminated wisdom is inherently complete in it. Then you are no different from the Buddhas, Thus it is called sudden enlightenment. As for gradual practice, having suddenly realized fundamental essence, no different with Buddhists, beginningless mental habits are hard to get rid of all at once. Therefore one cultivates practice based on enlightenment, gradually cultivating the attainment to perfection, nurturing the embryo of sagehood to maturity. Eventually, after a long time, one becomes a sage. Therefore it is called gradual practice. It's like an infant, which has all the normal faculties at birth, but is yet undeveloped. Only with the passage of years does it become an adult. Question.
By what expedient means can we turn our minds around instantly to realize our inherent essence?
Answer. It is just your own mind. What further expedient means would you apply? If you apply expedient means to go on to seek an intellectual understanding, this is like wanting to see your own eyes because you think you have no eyes if you cannot see them. Since they are your own eyes, how can you see them? As long as you have not lost them, that is called seeing eyes. If you have no more desire to see, does that mean you imagine that you are not seeing? So it is also with one's own open awareness. Since it's one's own mind, how can one yet seek to see it? If you seek understanding, then you do not understand it. Just know, that which does not understand, this is seeing essence. Question.
The more superior people easily understand upon hearing. Middling and lesser people are not without doubt. Please give further instructions of means to enable confused people to gain direction and access.
Answer. The way is not in the province of knowing or not knowing. Get rid of the mind that uses confusion to anticipate enlightenment and listen to what I say. All things are like dreams, like illusions or magical effects. Therefore errant thoughts are basically silent, while material objects are basically empty. The emptiness of all things is not obscure to open awareness, so this mind, with open awareness of silence and emptiness, is your original countenance. It is also the seal of Dharma esoterically transmitted by Buddhas of past, present, and future, the Zen masters of successive generations, and all genuine teachers in the world. If you realize this mind, this is really what is called ascending directly to the stage of Buddhahood without climbing up the steps. Your every footstep transcends the triple world, returning home. You put an end to doubt all at once. Then you are a teacher of the human and the celestial. With compassion and wisdom supporting each other, you fulfill both self-help and help for others, worthy of human and celestial support. You are able to use 10,000 ounces of gold in a day. If you were like this, a great person in the real sense, your task in life is done. Question.
In terms of my present stage, what is the mind of open awareness of silence and emptiness?
Answer. What enables you to ask me this question is your mind of open awareness of emptiness and silence. Why do you still seek outside instead of looking within? I will now point directly to the original mind in you to enable you to awaken. You should clear your mind to listen to what I say. Throughout the 24 hours of the day, you operate and act in all sorts of ways, seeing and hearing, laughing and talking, raging and rejoicing, affirming and denying. Now tell me, Ultimately, who is it that can operate and act in this way? If you say it is the physical body operating, then why is it that when people's lives have just ended and their bodies have not yet decomposed at all, their eyes cannot see, their ears cannot hear, their noses cannot smell, their tongues cannot talk, and their bodies do not move, and their hands do not grip, and their feet do not step? So we know that what can see and hear and act must be your basic mind, not your physical body. Indeed, the gross elements of this physical body are inherently empty, like images in a mirror, like the moon reflected in water. How could they be capable of perfectly clear and constant awareness, thoroughly lucid, sensitive, and effective, with countless subtle functions? Thus it is said, supernatural powers and subtle functions, drawing water and hauling wood. But there are many ways of access to the principle. I will point out one entryway by which you can return to the source. Do you hear the cawing of the crows and the chattering of the jays? The student's response, I hear them. Now turn around and listen to your listening, listen to your hearing essence. Are there still so many sounds in it? Student's response, when I get here, all sounds and all discriminations are ungraspable. Marvelous, marvelous. This is the sound seer's gateway into the principle. Now let me ask you further. You say that when you get here, all sounds and all discriminations are totally ungraspable. Since they cannot be grasped, does that not mean that there is empty space at such a time? Student's response, originally not empty. It is clearly not obscure. What is the substance that is not empty? Student's response. He asks, what is the substance? Student's response is, it has no form. There is no way to express it in words. This is the life of the Buddhas and the Zen masters. Do not doubt any more. Since it has no form, could it have size? Since it has no size, could it have bounds? And because it has no bounds, it is neither inside or outside. Having no outside or inside, it has no far or near. With no near or far, there is no there or here. Since there is no there or here, there is no going or coming. Because there is no going or coming, there is no birth or death. Having no birth or death, it has no past or present. Having no past or present, there is no delusion or enlightenment. There being no delusion or enlightenment, there is no ordinary or holy. Since there is no ordinary or holy, there is no pollution or purity. Because there is no pollution or purity, there is no judgment of right and wrong. With no judgment of right and wrong, all terms and statements are ungraspable. Once there are no such subjective states and false ideas, then all sorts of appearances and all sorts of labels are ungraspable. Is this not original empty silence? Original nothingness? However, in the state where all things are empty, open awareness is not obscured. This is not the same as being insentient. The release of your own spirit is the pure substance of your mind, with open awareness of empty silence. And this pure, open, tranquil mind is the supremely pure, luminous mind of the Buddhas of past, present, and future. It is also the essence of awareness that is the root, source of all living beings. Those who realize this and keep to it, sit in one suchness and are immutably liberated. Those who stray from this and turn away from it transverse the 6 courses and go round and round for eternity. Therefore, it is said that straying from one mind, or from the one mind, to transverse the 6 courses is departure or disturbance. while awakening to the realm of reality and returning to the one mind is arrival and tranquility. Even though there is a difference between whether one strays from it or realizes it, nevertheless, the basic source is one. That is why it is said that the Dharma refers to minds of living beings. This open, silent mind is not more in sages or less in ordinary people. Thus it is said that in sages it is knowledge that is nevertheless not flashy, and while it is hidden in the ordinary mind, yet it is not dimmed. Since it's not more in sages and less in ordinary people, how could the Buddhas and Zen masters be different from other people? What makes them different from other people is simply that they are able to guard their own minds and thoughts. If you can trust completely, your feelings of doubt will stop all at once, allowing a healthy will to emerge, so that you can discover real true vision and understanding, personally tasting its flavor, so that you naturally arrive at the state of spontaneous acknowledgement. This is the understanding of someone who is going to cultivate the mind. There are no more stages or steps, so it is called sudden. It is like saying that real faith is attained only when there is a conformity to perfect Buddhahood on the basis of your faith. Question.
If there are no more stages after having realized this principle, then why the need for subsequent practice, gradual contemplation, and gradual perfection?
Answer. I have already explained the meaning of gradual practice after enlightenment, but seeing that your doubts have not yet been resolved, I will explain it again. You should purify your mind so as to listen truly and hear accurately. Ordinary people have been revolving in circles since time immemorial, being born and dying in the 5 courses of existence. Because of clinging fixedly to self-images, false ideas, and misperceptions, the habits of illusion eventually become second nature to them. Even if they suddenly awaken in this life and realize that their essential nature is fundamentally empty and silent, no different from the Buddhas, nevertheless, past habits are difficult to remove all at once. Therefore they rage and rejoice as they encounter irritating and pleasing situations. Judgments of right and wrong arise and pass away in profusion, and afflictions caused by outside influences are no different from before. If they do not make proper use of the power within transcendent insight, how can they quell ignorance and reach the state of great rest and tranquility? As it is said, when suddenly awakened, although you are the same as Buddha, the energy of many lifetimes of habits is deep-seated. Though the wind stops, the waves still billow. Though no omen is manifest, thoughts still evade. Master Gao also said, time and again, those who have sharp faculties awaken without much effort. Then they become complacent and neglect further cultivation. Eventually they drift back into their former confusion, unable to escape revolving in circular routines. So how can we neglect subsequent cultivation because of a single awakening? Therefore, after awakening it is necessary to always observe and examine yourself. When errant thoughts suddenly arise, do not go along with them at all. Reduce them, until you reach a point of non-contrivance, which alone is the ultimate end. This is the ox-herding practice carried out by all illuminates after their enlightenment. Even though there is subsequent cultivation, they have already realized sudden enlightenment. Errant thoughts are fundamentally empty. The essence of mind is fundamentally pure. To stop evil over and over without any stopping, to cultivate goodness over and over without any cultivating, is true stopping and cultivation. Therefore it is said, that even if you fully cultivate myriad practices, only no thought is to be considered a basis. In making a general distinction between the meanings of attaining enlightenment first and then cultivating it afterward, Wei Feng said, "You suddenly realize this essence is originally free from afflictions. The essence of uncontaminated knowledge is inherently complete, no different from Buddha. To cultivate practice based on this is called the Zen of the highest vehicle. It is also called the pure Zen of those who realize suchness. If you can cultivate its practice moment to moment, in a gradual manner, you will naturally attain hundreds and thousands of spiritual states. This is the Zen that has been transmitted in the school of Bodhidharma. Thus, sudden enlightenment and gradual practice, gradual cultivation, are like the two wheels of a chariot. It will not work if one is missing. Some people, not knowing the essential emptiness of good and evil, think practical cultivation of mind means to sit rigidly immobile, subduing body and mind, like a rock placed on top of grass. This is ludicrous. This is why it is said the followers cut off confusion in every state of mind, yet the mind that does the cutting off is a brigand. Just clearly observe that killing, stealing, rapine, and falsehood arise from nature, arising without any arising, and they will immediately be annulled. Then what further need to stop them, is there? Oh my gosh, I've read for quite a while. Golly, I need a little holy mother of chickens. Oh my God. To be continued. Gosh, I didn't realize it was going to be that long.